All right, what's up everybody? So I'm currently editing this video you're about to see. I did a lot of filming, but I haven't had a whole lot of time to edit. So I'm putting the last 4 days that I was hauling manure, I'm putting them all into one video for you guys to try and get you caught up to what we're currently doing, which is just field work and stuff. We haven't actually started on fixing anything yet, but I'm putting all these into one video for all you guys. Now, I did look at the analytics. It looks like we have about 5,000 to 6,000 returning viewers who are not subscribed. So if you keep coming back to watch the videos and you like the videos, make sure you go down below and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you enjoy this video. All right, welcome out. We are hauling manure again. It's actually after lunch already. We have Josh and Trevor out here. Trevor's working in this little area still. We've actually worked quite a ways back on this side. I don't know how much more he's got left. It looks like there's still quite a bit there, but I'm up to load, so let's back up in there. All right, we're getting there. Josh is back there quite a ways, so it takes me a minute to back up. It's really slick where he has scooped the manure, or I would drive where he scooped it, but it's really slick. I actually drifted my 10-wheeler truck earlier because I was trying to turn around and it wouldn't go, so I just floored it and just spun the whole truck. It was like I was sliding around on ice. It was kind of crazy. But get back here so we can see Josh, and that's good. Now we'll get loading. So you can see Trevor over there. So he's worked it back, and there's actually a little entrance into that area right here. So right here, the berm is open. Well, he's worked it back basically to that entrance. So he just has this little bit, and then whatever's behind him whatever's behind that there's not a whole lot back there. It's kind of sloppy, nasty. It's not haulable. It's just they put a whole bunch of manure in there, and now the manure it's sealed the ground off, so now every time it rains it just gets wet and slick and sloppy. So I would be surprised if they could even get the loader back there to scoop it out. But yeah, definitely what's back there is not haulable. So Trevor's just gonna get whatever he can get right here. It looks like by the end of today we will about be done hauling manure, other than when the drag line comes. We just have what's left right here to haul, and then we'll be done. So yeah, we're getting close. The end is in sight. And what's nice is once the manure hauling is done, then there's just field work. There's just tractor work to do. So not near as much work to do. Kind of see in the mirror there, but there's not near as much field work, or not near as much work to do once we get done with manure. And my dad and Christopher have both been working on the field work, so ideally they'll have the majority of it done before we even have to get to it. So today's Wednesday, and on Monday we kind of had a little meeting in the morning to decide what work there was still to be done, and we still have over 1,500 acres that we have to chisel plow. So that is one thing that we're gonna have to do. Is once we're done with this, we're probably gonna have to just take shifts and try and get, oh no, he's gonna drop it on me. We're gonna have to take shifts to get the chisel plow work done. All right, he just honked as I was switching to the other camera view, and said I was done. So, but now we're just hauling right across the street. So we're hauling, it's literally, we leave the dairy, we drive a quarter mile down the road, and we turn into the field. So it is right across the street from the dairy is where we're hauling. So very short haul, and because of that, so we are down another truck. We had we had our international truck. The shifter, somewhere where the shifter mounts to the transmission, it's one of our manual transmission trucks, but where the shifter mounts to the transmission, it broke. I'm not sure what broke on it, but it's like it came apart inside, and they're having a hard time finding the right parts. So we're down that truck, so we've got 6 trucks running still, and because we are so close and the loaders are both right next to each other, basically when you get here, whatever loader is ready for a truck, that's the one you go to. So we don't really have a specific truck that or a specific loader that we go to. Normally when they're in different areas in the dairy, you just go to the same one over and over. That way they continually have trucks and they're not just sitting waiting for a truck while the other guy's bogged down with trucks. So hey, look at this. Here's Christopher's Highland cows. He's got a couple different pastures he puts them in, but they're over here next to the dairy as well as behind his house. So yeah, Highland cows everywhere. All right, well, back to what I was talking about. So because that truck is broken down, but it's a close haul, we're okay. We're still hauling out a lot of manure very quickly, which is good. We would all like to be done with the rush, go, 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 and get to more of a, okay, we have 6 months to fix everything. What do we got to do first? And then just slowly work on things all winter long. When the dragline comes, we don't even need all 6 trucks because he's got a smaller bucket and he's trying to scoop from a pretty sloppy spot. So when he comes, we will only be loading probably only about 4 trucks because we're still going to be hauling right here across the street from the dairy. So, but we'll probably only need 4, maybe 5 trucks. So we'll have 1 truck that we can drop off. But we have a couple part-time drivers right now who we can just say that we're done and they can go back to their whatever they were doing before. I know there's a couple that just don't have a job right now and we just were giving them a job, so it was good. But yeah, we're going to be cutting back on how many employees we have coming up pretty soon. I know our two of our drivers are Mexican guys from Mexico, but they're citizens and they live here full-time year-round. They've lived here for like 40 something years, but in the winter they like to go back to Mexico where all their families are and be with them for Christmas and the New Year and for a few months. So once we're done with manure, they're gonna pack up and they're gonna leave back to Mexico for a few months, and then they'll be back to help us get things ready to haul manure in the springtime. Seems like it never ends. All right, I got everything turned on and going. It is really hard to turn everything on while filming. So yeah, this is the field we're in right now, and it's big. It's like 250 acres. So, and those are our cellars right there. So yeah, for people who want to know like where everything's kind of positioned, here's our cellars and our farm, and the dairy's right there. So literally just across the street from the farm. It used to all be one thing. So the dairy and the farm, I mean, when my grandpa moved up here when he was 9 from Cedar City, Utah, I think, they moved up here, they bought a few cows, they had a little dairy down there, so they bought cows, they started a little dairy up here and started farming, and they had some land, and so the dairy had been a part of the farm for a long time, like 60 years. And then my uncle decided that he would like to buy the dairy from the farm and just go run the dairy. See how we're spreading. So he bought the dairy from the farm and he's been running it ever since. And now one of his kids is taking over the dairy. So the dairy is kind of in my uncle's family now, so they're kind of running it. We just grow hay for them and we haul the manure off. So it makes it pretty nice that we have the dairy right there close that we can get all this lovely fertilizer from. Granted, it is a big job to haul all this manure. We do haul about 4,000 loads a year of manure. So these trucks get very, very, very well used when it comes to manure hauling. I'm gonna get my truck emptied here and head back to the dairy to keep on loading I do have a window mount, so I'll try and get you a little bit different camera angle this episode. So hope you enjoy it. Well, there's a truck backing up to Josh, so this time I'm gonna go to Trevor. Looks like Trevor's got a little bit sloppier manure. So you can see backing up here, there's just little bumps, but it's so slick because of all the manure that it just kind of swirls all over the place. Can't really control where I go. But back here now, Trevor's loading me up. It's not too sloppy. It looks like it's fairly solid, especially over there on that edge over there. It's pretty solid. There's definitely some slop in there. See, he's having a hard time getting a good scoop just because it's slick and his tires don't have the most traction either. I know a lot of people ask like how many cows the dairy has and stuff. I mean, it honestly looks like they've cut down a little bit. They have these dry cow corrals that are in the back, and I don't entirely understand what they do with them and everything. So, but there's less cows back there than there have been in the past. So I'm not sure, but I know at one point they had like between 4,000 and 5,000 cows. Now they only milk about 1,200 cows, so it may change from time to time. I know that a while back the government was restricting dairies quite a bit and how much they could actually sell. So I think he had to cut back a little bit on how many cows he was milking because he was producing too much milk. Yeah, there's a lot of government regulation when it comes to farming and dairies and how much you can and can't grow and what you can do. So I know with dairies they're a lot more restricted on, because milk, I don't know how that works with contracts and stuff. I don't know that there is an open market for milk like there is wheat and potatoes and other commodities. So yeah, I'm not sure how that works, but maybe one day we'll be able to make a video of the dairy. So, but for now, we're just gonna keep hauling some cow crap and covering our fields with this lovely fertilizer. It smells so wonderful. Oh, that was another thing. Some of you have said that it probably stinks really bad. It does. It smells really bad. But after being out here for about an hour, I can't even smell it anymore. It's just, it's like my nose is just immune to the smell. So it looks like I'm about full, so I'm gonna go unload this load. I just got that last load unloaded. I'm back over here at Josh. This is the whole spot that we've cleaned up. But I got a pretty good view of Trevor from right here. There might be a little bit of wind in the mic, but that's what we got today. Ooh, looks like there's a nice sloppy area right there. Because the ground is sealed up, and because the ground is sealed up, the water can't go in. So like right here is going to be really watery and sloppy and slick. So it looks like there is more manure back there. It's just if we can get the loader through this part. I guess we'll find out here in about an hour or so, probably, if the loader can actually get back there to that back part, because I don't think we've actually hauled that back part out in a few years, just because we can't get through this because it's just too slippery. So we'll see. It hasn't rained in a while, so because it hasn't rained, we might be able to get back in there, but we'll have to see. I don't know. I imagine that loader has pretty slick tires, so it would be kind of a struggle unless Josh can get back there. The loader Josh is in has better tires, so we'll see if Josh can get back in there. Hey, look, there's a tumbleweed tumbling along. Oh, he launched some manure clear over there. It is kind of fun running the loaders, but I can't run it this week. Mainly because I wrecked on a dirt bike and kind of messed up my arm, so I can't move my left arm very good, and that's the arm that you steer the loader with. So yeah, be careful on motorcycles. All right, I'm full. Trevor's mixing and stacking, trying to keep as much solid as he can. I'm gonna go and unload this truck. There's Trevor's next truck just backing up. Now there is more manure out here. So there's solid back here in the back, but we typically don't like to haul that because we like to save that for when we haul and it's too sloppy, that they can use that to bring up and mix in. So I doubt we're gonna haul any of that. All right, so a little bit different angle. Not that much different, but you know, I can only get so creative when I'm in a truck. Just pulling into the field now. The wheat is really tall, so it's kind of hard to see sometimes where the last truck went, because you can't see the manure very well in this field. All right, I think I'm in line. I'll turn on my PTO, turn on my beaters, turn up my belt a little bit, open the door. Normally the wheat isn't this tall. So the volunteer wheat that got missed at harvest or fell off or fell out of the back of the combine, because yes, we have a new Fendt combine, and I know the camera is shaking because you're stuck to the window and the truck's shaking. So, but we have a new Fendt combine, and yeah, it clearly leaks just a little bit, but you show me a combine and I'll show you one that leaks, because every combine leaks. I don't care what brand, what model, how new it is, nothing. Every combine leaks. So yeah, there's volunteer grain. Normally it doesn't grow this high because usually the weather drops, the temperature drops enough that the wheat it'll grow a little bit, but then it stops growing and winter comes. But this field, the volunteer wheat is probably, I'd say it's about at least a foot tall. It's taller than the stubble that it's growing in. So yeah, it's kind of hard to see where you're going here. But yeah, we're getting it covered where this field has such long rows that we can't haul manure from one end to the other. So we haul manure to the middle, and then we turn and go in and through the yard and then out over to the dairy. So we just haul to the middle of the field, and when we get one half of the field done, then we come in the yard and then we haul to the other side. So it does take a little while to cover this field. I mean, it took us, I think we can cover about 50 acres a day, and this is a 250 acre field. So this field is going to take us it's going to take us probably the next week to cover. But this probably will be the last field we haul on, because we don't have that much more manure. So we did possibly lock down some more manure. Sorry if the camera's super shaky. There's another dairy that's local that wants us to haul some of their manure, and we might do it because they don't want to charge us for it. They just want to give it to us, so we won't have to pay for it. So we're trying to decide if we want to do that or not. Granted, we're all ready to be done hauling manure, so we'll see. But there is another dairy that wants to give us manure, so because they can't get rid of it either. So we'll see what happens with that. But we're going to keep hauling here and see how much we can get done today. I did notice that Trevor has finally pushed past the end of where he was able to go and where we thought it might be too sloppy. So I'll show you guys that here in a minute when I get back to the dairy. I'm just driving back here, and here's the little entrance I told you about earlier. But you can see Trevor's already passed it. So he's worked his way past that, and now he's mixing solid in what he can to try and make that solid enough to haul. We might get the whole thing hauled. And then Josh is over here waiting for me, and we still have quite a bit over here. He's got right here, but then once I drove and came this direction instead of backing in, I can see how much more there is, and it goes for another 200 feet that way. So we've definitely got plenty of manure here to keep us busy, at least for one more day. I don't think we're gonna get it all hauled out today, but we'll get a lot of it. Well, I forgot to film an ending to yesterday, so how about we just roll yesterday right into today? So it's the next day, next morning. Yeah, I just saw a few snowflakes hitting the windshield. As you can see, it's kind of dark out here, and it's very cloudy. It looks like it could possibly snow today. So yeah, we'll see. But I'm gonna drive back here to Josh. I think we will about be done with what we can get with our loaders here today. I was talking to Christopher this morning, so I guess we are gonna haul manure from that other dairy I was telling you about. I guess there's about 200 loads over there that we're gonna go get. And then next week, we are going to clean out the drain and get the drag line out here, and then we'll be hauling all next week too, trying to get as much out as we can. But yeah, so we're just gonna roll yesterday's video right into today. There's Trevor. He's worked his way back quite a ways. Oh man, doesn't want to focus. Hold my window down so you guys could actually see. So this is the area that Trevor's been in. They've got a lot out. Yep, and I don't think you guys can see them. Maybe you can, but there are little snowflakes falling. So yeah, it's cold. It's cold and snowy. But Trevor's really worked his way back there. I didn't think he was going to be able to get back this far because it's so slick, but he's still going. He's still pushing back further and further, and it looks like it's still pretty solid back here in the back. Granted, I mean, this manure back here has been here for years. I think they hauled this out here years ago. We just haven't been able to get it. So there's not a lot left. I'm just backing up to where I can see Josh is behind me. I'll give you a little view of the manure that's left back here. Josh is over here. He's gonna load me up. But this right here is the very back of the area that Trevor's in. So he just has where he's at right there, this little bit to do, and it's not very wide. So even though it is quite a ways from there to here, it's only about maybe 30-40 feet wide at the most. So not very wide. I don't know how deep it is, but he's about done, and also Josh is about done. Josh only has his spot that he's working in over here. His spot's only 20 feet wide, and it goes back for about 100 or 200 feet. So we might be done with all this by noon. We'll see. Well, I'm on my way out to the field, and yeah, you can't see the mountains because it's snowing. There's a little bit of snowflakes and water and stuff hitting my windshield, but it hasn't really started to snow much here. But yeah, it is definitely snowing in the mountains. Man, you can't see through my window. Yeah, it's snowing through in the mountains, that's for sure. What's terrible is today is actually Halloween. So if you've ever wanted to know how far I am behind on getting these videos edited and put out, well, whatever day it is today, it's Halloween. So that's how far I am behind. But yeah, it's snowing today. It's gonna be a cold trick-or-treating tonight. This field is going pretty well. We are now past the pivot that's out there, over there. So we are making our way across. Granted, we're only hauling to the middle of this field. We're hauling to the middle, and then we turn in by the cellars. So we still have a lot to do in this field. And get everything turned on. Start lifting my gate before I start driving. Gate's slowly going up. The gate goes up so slow that I feel like if I just take off driving before I get the gate up and before I get my belt speed turned up, that the manure doesn't start to spread till I'm out of here. Okay, there it is. There it's starting to fly. Lift my door up a little bit more. It's not quite all the way up. Yeah, so we're past this pivot right there, and we have a lot to cover on this field, but we're going to be hauling probably all next week too, so we have a lot more ground to cover. Alright, I'm back out the dairy now. Thought I would drive a little different route, give you guys a little different view of the area. So normally I go that way. I'm gonna go right here next to this ditch, loop around. Since Josh is far enough back there, I think this is actually be a faster way to get back. You can see Trevor over here. Man, I haven't seen this area cleaned out in years because it's been so slick and sloppy. So what's been sitting here has been sitting there long enough that it actually dried out. It does help that we haven't gotten really any rain for the last 2 months or so. So here's Trevor and his little area. That's pretty deep. I mean, that manure right there is probably about 6 feet deep. So there's definitely a lot there. It's just not very wide. And then back here, here's Josh. So Josh, I mean, it looks like Josh will be about done in about probably an hour or less. There's not a whole lot left right there. So we'll back in, get loaded, and not even an hour. It looks like he'll be done in about 3 or 4 trucks. There's really not a lot here. Just a little bit. I can get, there we go. Yeah, back here where Josh is at, there's only a handful of trucks left, so I might only get one more load from here, and then we'll all be going to Trevor, because I don't know where else Josh is going to be going to get manure out here at the dairy, because all of what's left in the upper areas is all on the concrete, is all super sloppy. So it's what they've been scraping out of the corrals just the last few days, and I don't think they've mixed anything into it, so it's just sloppy slop. And I do see their loader. I don't know if they're hauling any more solid anywhere else, but yeah, the manure that's left over there is too sloppy to haul. So we might be about done here. Maybe by noon we'll be done. So I was gonna say by the end of the day we'd be done out here, but I mean, it's only 9 o'clock. Josh is almost done. Trevor maybe has till noon, and then he'll be done. So I'm not sure where we're gonna go after that. There's Josh loading up probably one of my last loads from here. It's fairly solid. They're able to stack it really high. Loader's been working pretty well off and on. He's had a few issues, but we've been able to keep it going. The mechanics have been able to come out really quick and get it back up and running. So we haven't had to wait too long. Haven't had to use the Volvo too much, which is good because that loader's slow. But we're getting it done. You can see it. There's definitely snow falling on my window. Yeah, you can see that snow for sure against the dark ground there. It's snowing October 31st. This is our first snow, I think. Yeah, I don't think we've had any snow up until now. So, first snow of the year. It's starting to get cold. And it's going to be cold for a while. Josh just honked that I'm done, so I'm going to go unload this load, and we'll see where we load next time, because Josh doesn't have a whole lot left. Neither does Trevor. He's over here getting scoops out of his spot. His is a lot deeper though, so there is definitely manure there. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas with a little cow poop mixed into. But in all seriousness, when I was a kid, I remember trick-or-treating in my snow clothes with a mask on, and we literally had about a foot of snow on Halloween. So I just wish it wasn't so stinking cold on Halloween. Yeah, it gets cold in Idaho really fast. Once it decides to switch, it really decides to switch. So yeah, we got snow falling. We're still gonna go trick-or-treating tonight, but I guess all my kids are gonna be in their snow clothes with their masks on. So it's just what we gotta do. It'll still be fun. Hopefully we don't get too cold.
You can see right here in front of me, that's about 2 feet deep. There's a hole right there. It looks like I got a broken water pipe. Look at all the water running. Well, I'm pretty sure we're done in this area. We almost got it. There's only about 20 yards of manure left to them weeds. Those weeds, the back walls.
It's like Trevor had an eruption of water. Got back in here, and you can see the water just mixed all up in there. So yep, back here is definitely full of water. Not going to be able to be hauled as it has been the last couple of years. And here's the last little bit that Josh has. I imagine my truck will probably get the majority of this. Maybe one more truck to finish it off. Yeah, this was just dumped back here. That's when it's really, really, really sloppy. They just bring it back here and they dump it. And let it dry out. So when it's really thin, it dries out, soaks into the ground, and yeah. So probably one more load from here, and I don't know how much more Trevor can get because his looks pretty stinking sloppy. But yeah, we're about done with what we can get. So Josh got done back there, so he's moved back up here to the middle area where the push-offs are. And this right here, so from right there all the way through, we call it the drain. So there's a channel right here that we have not been able to clean out for the past few years that is about 20 feet deep. The loader will almost disappear in the channel. And then right here where this is kind of collapsing through, there's a gap in the wall, and then it goes over here onto this side. And on this side is where it kind of separates out, and then you have your weeping wall that filters the liquids and solids, or it's supposed to, and then it runs under the road into the lagoon on this side. But you can see there's water in there, so we're gonna clean out what we can over here. It looks like they've mixed in some solid, but for the most part it is still pretty sloppy. I'll drive over there to the other side where that truck is and show you how sloppy it is. You can see that the pressure on this weeping wall has just destroyed it. So yeah, it is not working anymore. Right here, there's not supposed to be any solid right here, and it's completely solid. And yeah, the lagoon looks about the same. Lots of solid in there, not much liquid. So the drag line's gonna have to clean that out too. So they've mixed in a little bit, a lot of straw looks like, but for the most part, it's still pretty sloppy. Lots of water up in there. I don't know how much of this we'll be able to haul. Josh is gonna try and mix it as much as he can to make it solid enough to haul, but I mean, you can see that, it looks like water. And straw, you would think straw would be a pretty good thing to mix in. Straw doesn't mix very well. Like, it's hard to get it to actually go in and soak up the liquid. It just wants to sit on top. It doesn't want to mix in. So there's only so much we can do. We mix as much as we can, but it just doesn't work very well. Trying to mix what he can, but honestly, I think by about noon, which is in 2 hours, it's going to be. Oh look, there's Trevor. So that's Trevor in that loader. This is the dairy's loader here, and the dairy scraper. But it looks like Trevor's out of manure over there too. So looks like we're all up here. So I'd be surprised if we make it till lunch. We're definitely not going to get this cleaned out by any means. That manure was just too sloppy. We didn't actually get any loads out of there. It needs to be mixed and solidified. So we're headed out here to the middle of the field. If you've watched a lot of our videos, you'll know that we had a whole cellar of potatoes earlier this year that went rotten. And we were able to wash and haul in most of them, but we had to dump about 8,000 sacks of them. So we dumped them down here because we knew that we could haul them out on the field, and those rotten potatoes will just act as fertilizer. So we are down here in the field, and we're going to start hauling these rotten potatoes out on the field. So yeah, all this right here is all just rotten potatoes. So these potatoes are going to smell 10 times worse than that manure. I'll just tell you that right now. Good thing you guys can't smell it. They're going to be nasty. They've been sitting here for about, I want to say about 3 or 4 months. All these nasty potatoes. Trevor's overloading up over there. It shouldn't take too long to haul these out, but since we've got 2 loaders and all the trucks, 6 trucks I think. Whew, I can smell them already. They smell terrible. But it'll be really good fertilizer. So even though we lost them or we weren't able to send them into the processor, we'll at least get some fertilizer value out of it. I just drove around the area where we're hauling, so I drove past Trevor. Oh, this smells legitimately 100 times worse than manure. It smells so bad. Oh my gosh. These smelled nasty when we were hauling them out of the cellar, but now they've been sitting and rotting for another 3 or 4 months. Oh, they smell so horrible. Ugh. Just imagine the worst smell you could possibly imagine, and times that by about 10. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. But we gotta haul them, so I'm gonna start unloading this load. All right, well, we're spreading it. Oh, it smells so bad though. Hopefully we don't have to do this for too many more hours, because this is nasty. And there's almost no breeze, so you can't even get like upwind of it. It just stinks everywhere. Everything stinks. Oh my gosh. I would much rather be hauling manure right now. So Josh left. So we're all loading at Trevor now. There's not a lot here. That's it. So we'll definitely have it done before too long. But I'm not sure why Josh left, but he did. So we're all just getting loaded at Trevor. But we'll get it all hauled. Man, if I don't pass out first. It smells so bad out here. Good grief. Josh is back. Not sure what happened, but he's back and we're almost done. There's not a ton left already, and we've only been here for about an hour. So yeah, by noon we'll definitely have this all done, and we'll figure out what we're gonna do after that. All right, well, Josh and Trevor are both now scooping and loading into one truck. So we're down to the last little bit. There's a pile of dirt back there, and we don't want to take the dirt necessarily. We just want the rotten potatoes, but they're getting what they can get, I guess. But just loading up one truck at a time, but they're both working in the same truck, which is kind of funny. That truck is full. It's like I'll probably get one of the last loads. Yeah, there's definitely not a lot left here. Yeah, that's just a pile of dirt. That's not rotten potatoes, so want to get all the rotten potatoes out. Okay, we're back out at the dairy now after lunch. We tried going in on the other side of this. There's a spot where you can go in from the other end. We tried going in there, and Josh just about got the loader stuck. So we're just gonna dig from this side and see what we can get. I can already see right there, there's a bunch of water just waiting to erupt. So not sure how much we'll be able to get, but we'll get as much as we can. We can't haul sloppy stuff, so it's got to be fairly solid or we can't haul it. So I guess we'll find out how bad it gets. Okay, well, this is where we're to. I'm about to get loaded with my last load. Trevor and the dairy's loader they've been hauling dry up and then dumping it off right here so Josh can kind of mix it in. But looks like we'll get most of this pad. So right there by Josh there's a ramp that goes down, and it's like 20 feet deep, and that's where all the water has been. So I don't know, next week we're gonna try to go in there because we want to try and get that cleaned out. We haven't cleaned that out for years. Just because it's been so sloppy. So yeah, this is where we're to. I'm about to get my last load, and next week we're gonna have the drag line out here, which is basically a huge excavator with a really long arm, and we'll park over there by the weeping wall and try and clean out all this that we can't really get with the loader. So, but I'm about to back in here and get my last load for the day. Josh is getting me loaded up here. It is pretty sloppy. We're doing our best to try and keep it solid, make it solid, but there's not a whole lot we can do. And then Trevor's over here dumping dry stuff off the edge so Josh can mix it in. We try really hard to get all the manure, but sometimes it's just not possible to get it all. If it's too sloppy, we can't haul it. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, we'll use a slurry truck. Well, the dairy has one, but it won't pump. They fill it up with a big pump that's mounted to a tractor, and it won't pump if it's this solid. So, but they do have a slurry truck or a slurry tanker or whatever, but it only works with really liquid manure, and this is just too solid. So, but I'm gonna go unload this load, and that'll be the end of my day. All right, well, I'm out here unloading my truck now. Last load of the day, and then I'm gonna go trick-or-treating with the family. All right, guys, well, welcome out to another day of manure. Josh is over there. He's mixing up, trying to get that to be fairly solid. I'll be going over there after this load. But right now I'm on the other side by the weeping wall, and Trevor is digging out of this side. So this side is, let me roll this down so you can see. So there's a drain right here. We call this the drain, what Trevor's going into. There's a ramp right here that goes all the way across to where Josh is. And it gets really deep, but we're trying to dig this out on this side to hopefully get some of the water to come over here so we can pump it out. But we looks like they've scraped it. They were about getting stuck, but now it looks like they've scraped it. Oh, look, I can see the water right there. It's already starting to leak. We've barely taken, this is the first load out of here, and it's already starting to fill up with water. So yeah, we'll probably only be able to get a load, or maybe 2 loads out of here, and then it's going to be too muddy for them to even get out with the loader, because the loader will start to get stuck. But it's already erupting with water. So yeah, it's the lovely mess we've got here. But we're basically just digging this side a little bit to try and get a spot where water can pond, so the water won't run to that other side, is all we're trying to do. So we're gonna see what we can do today. Our goal today is to just kind of go through this drain as much as we can, and then I think if it gets too wet and sloppy, then we're gonna go over to another dairy that has some manure, and we're gonna haul their manure. So we'll do as much as we can over here until it gets too sloppy. Looks like it's already pretty sloppy on this side, but we need to make a nice hole for them to pump the water out. So, and I can see that the water is leaking in. So looks like we're doing what we're accomplishing what we're supposed to be doing. Like, it's dry on top. The top about 4 or 5 feet are dry, but underneath that is just wet as wet, sloppy manure. It's already having a hard time getting out. It's already making ruts and stuff. You know, it's gonna be good when you can see the twine dangling off the bucket. It's a nice sunrise though, on the bright side. Always got to look for the positives. It's a nice sunrise today. All right, I'm gonna take off here, and we'll go drive over here and see what Josh's side looks like. I imagine it's pretty sloppy as well. But yeah, next time I will go over and we'll load. Man, that weeping wall looks pretty bad. But I'll go over and we'll load over by Josh. We'll see how much we can get from that side. There's a nice ramp over there if we can get to it. The ramp that's down in there is actually a concrete ramp. It goes down in there. So a little easier to work with. Now it's kind of crazy to think that my grandpa, he built all of this. So all these manure areas and all the corrals, except for the big dry corrals that are out in the back and some of the milking corrals on the one side, those are additions that my uncle has added. But my grandpa built all this. So that concrete barn right there, that was actually their original milking barn. So it's still there. That's where they used to milk all the cows back long time ago. So yeah, my grandpa built all this long time ago. He's told stories about when they were trying to level the concrete and make all the adjustments and build all the buildings. And he had I have a really old, man, I don't even know what you call it. It's a surveying tool that they used to use. It looks like a scope for like a gun, but yeah, it's an old surveying tool. And I have that, and then I have the stand that it goes on, from when they originally built all the stuff at the dairy and made all the new corrals and everything that are still there. So it is kind of crazy that he built all that up from where it was all the way. So the only thing that's new is the new milk barn and some new corrals. But all the old corrals that we're working in and all the old manure areas we're working in, yeah, he built those a long time ago. I don't even know when, but it was a long time ago. Christopher's over there in the disc. He's just disking up he's just lightly disking the manure. So basically he's disking it just enough that when my dad comes through in the chisel plow, he can go really, really deep, all the way deep that he needs to do with the chisel plow. Because when my dad started doing the manure, see the doors going up back there. Sorry, I can't do 3 things at once. I have to get everything started and going, and then I'll talk to you guys. Okay, so when my dad started doing the manure with the chisel plow, the chisel plow tractor, it's a track tractor. And if you know anything about track tractors, you know that they don't do very well, surprisingly, in mud and slick stuff like manure. Once the tracks start to slip, they just kind of they twist sideways and they kind of stop working. They just don't work very well. So he got into the manure, which is kind of slick, and it has frost and stuff on top of it in the mornings. It's kind of wet, and he couldn't go very fast. So he'd drop it all the way down as deep as he could go, and the tractor would not pull straight. It just wanted to wander. So Christopher is disking it. See, he's already disked this. But Christopher is disking it, so when the chisel plow comes through, it's not sitting on that wet, sloppy manure. It's sitting on dirt, and he can just put it all the way down and go. So that's why we have the disc out. Normally we wouldn't disc it, but with our big 9510 tractor being broke down, with that tractor being broke down, they sent us a loaner tractor that isn't as much horsepower, and it only has 2-foot wide tracks instead of 3-foot wide tracks, so there's not as much traction either. So our 9510 would do it just fine, but this new tractor that we're borrowing just doesn't have the traction or power to do it how we would like to. So we're having to disc it first. So yeah, we're gonna keep going today and see how much we get done. Okay, I'm now back here with Josh. Let's see. I mean, it's not terrible. They've definitely mixed in a lot to make this up here solid, but there really isn't a whole lot left up here before we go into the drain. I gotta shut the door before I get splattered. There's just this little bit of the pad left up here. Because right there, that concrete wall right there, that's the end before we start dropping into the drain. So I'm not sure how much we'll actually be able to get, but we're gonna be moving into the drain before too long. I don't want to get splattered with manure that plops onto the ground and makes a mess. Okay, well we'll get loaded up here. We'll keep on going. We'll be in the drain before too long, so I'll bring you back once we start heading into the drain. Okay, well, it has erupted with water. I gotta shut my door, I'm gonna get splashed. Ah! Yeah, the water we've started going into the drain now, and the water has started to come out. See all that water right there. Watery, sloppy manure coming out. Ugh. Definitely don't want to. See all these spots on my window? Yeah, that happens when a big splat happens. But we're into the slop now, so we just want to get it cleaned out to where they can get their pump in here and try and pump it out. It's pretty nasty. It's pretty messy. And it's not even 10 o'clock, so. We've got quite a mess in this area. They want us to get it cleaned out, but I don't think there's any way to get it out. I might be full with this scoop. Let's see. Nope, not quite. So yeah, his front tires are dipping down into the drain. There's a ramp there. So he's trying to get as much as he can without getting the slop, but obviously we do get some with every scoop, so can only do so much. All right, I'm full, so let's go. I just thought I would come back over here where Trevor was and see. Well, I mean, it's not really leaking. I'm guessing he just started about getting stuck. There's definitely one. Oh, look at that, it's about to go. Well, when I said it wasn't really leaking, I guess I lied. I just happened to be here right when that erupted. It's leaking now. Good golly. Yeah, so that's kind of the goal for this side, is we want this side to flood with all the water and then they can pump it out. But yeah, we'll see how much actually comes over here. But so far, that's leaking. It's leaking a lot. But I gotta get back over here because there's one more truck and then I'm supposed to load. So I had to go over there by Josh. Well, it finally flooded. So it's all flooded with water. So hopefully they can come pump it out. We are going to go over to another dairy and get some of their manure now. Okay, we're out here. These guys do compost too, so there's some compost, but we're not taking the compost, we're taking the more sloppier stuff. Granted, it's a lot more solid than what we were hauling, so we are gonna get, I'm not exactly sure how much we're supposed to take, but well, we're gonna take as much as they want us to take, I guess. They just wanted us to haul some because they couldn't get rid of it. So we are just gonna take what they want. It looks like we're probably gonna take all this over here too. So we're gonna finish up this little pile and then move over here and get this piece over here. So definitely got some work to do here. So it's definitely a lot more solid than what we have been working with. But we're gonna get loading up here. I mean, maybe not a lot more solid, but it's definitely solid. It's not runny. So, a little bit better. Get loaded up. We have a field that's not too far from here, so we're hauling on that one. All right, we've been scooping out of here for a few hours now, and we've got a lot out actually. So I don't know how much, if we're just gonna finish this little spot right here, because there's not a whole lot left. We would definitely get this done in a couple hours, but I'm about to get my last load for the day. But we've definitely got a lot out of here. They just wanted us to come and make some room for them to have enough room for winter. So we cleaned out over there, which you can't see because it's blurry. There. We cleaned out way over there, and then we've cleaned out this whole side right here. So we've cleaned out a lot. I don't know why my phone is not focusing on the right thing. There we go. It has gotten a little bit sloppier as we've gotten back this way, which kind of makes sense because I'm guessing they probably, when they start these rows, they probably start dumping on that end and then work their way this way. So that end was kind of dry. This end, a little bit sloppier. So yeah, we're gonna get loaded here for our last load and go unload it. I'll show you where we're at in the field. But it's going pretty well. It's not too bad over here. It's definitely, seems like it's a little easier for the loader to get around. Yeah, it's a little sloppier, but honestly it's about the same consistency as all the manure we've been hauling over at the dairy, so it's not too bad. But we're gonna get this loaded up and then we'll head back out to the field for one last time for the day.
Good morning to you guys. We're starting down in the drain. One nice thing about these BTR beds, even though they're bigger, they also have this swing out beater, so he can lift his gate. And Josh and Taryn's in that truck. They're hauling me solid here because we got a bunch, as you can see, there's a bunch of water down in there. So we can mix this up and get it hauled and get the drain cleaned out because they're on the other side. They're over there pumping. That's where we were working last week, and it finally blew the water out, and they're over there pumping the slurry into their tank. But yeah, we're just trying to get this hauled as best as we can without making too big a mess. But yeah, having this ability and these beds unload so fast. You can crank that thing up and it takes maybe a minute and a half to unload that truck fully loaded right here.
Well, we're out here this morning trying to get into the drain from the other side. So I just got loaded up with a bunch of solid manure. Came back here, I just dumped my whole load right here. Now they're pushing and mixing to try to get it solid enough that we can start hauling out of here. Because this is the drain. So all of this right here is what we call the drain. And we're trying to make it so we can haul it. But it's proving to be difficult. As you can see, it's a little sloppy. We just dumped a whole truckload of dry manure right here. And it's helped a little bit, not a lot.
Try to have Brandon pull up. Have her pull up. Yep.
Just trying to mix it. I'm trying not to get splattered. So this drain goes from here, right through here, all the way over to over there, which they have, that's their tractor mounted pump. That's all flooded over there. So they've been pumping it into their tanker trying to get that out. But the drain goes all right through here, and then about right here, there's a berm that goes right here, a dirt berm that goes all the way around this area, and then there's a little channel in it where where the water and stuff can go through. So it's about 20 feet deep. It's 15 to 20 feet deep right in here. But this is what we're trying to work with today. That's lovely manure. Okay, I just dumped a second load of dry. So he's kind of mixing that in, trying to clean it up a little bit. You can see that the ruts are pretty bad. That's what's going to be the hard part, is getting in and out once you get in there. You got to keep your ramp clean. But he is trying to push and mix, and it did help. It is getting a little bit more solid. But yeah, it's hopefully all the water goes out the other side and we can kind of work over here today. At least that's the plan. We'll see if it works. Josh is over here with this loader. He's been kind of scraping right here. And then I think tomorrow the excavator is going to come. It'll park right here and it'll clean off a lot of the solid that it can reach. Looks like it's definitely made it more solid though. Might be one reason why our loaders don't last very long before they break, because we just put them through literally the most horrible situations that a loader could even be in. Like manure as deep as the tires. Probably not the best thing for it, but what else are you gonna do? This loader doesn't have quite as good of tires as the other one. It has more of those just like gravel pit or road tires, whereas the other loader has those tires that have more traction lugs on them. But this loader doesn't have a wheel seal out. Our other one has a wheel seal out, and we don't really want to take it in manure that's deeper than the wheels, so we don't want to take it down in here. So hopefully this one has enough traction that it can get in and out just fine. The reason I use my truck to haul the solid is because my beaters actually swing clear up here out of the way, and I can just dump the manure right on the ground, whereas most of these other ones don't do that. Not entirely sure what the plan is for today, but hopefully we can get as much of this drain cleaned out as we can. All right, looks like he's ready to load a truck. My truck now. Trevor's loading me up. If we could haul all day from this spot, we would definitely get the majority of the drain cleaned out, but I'll drive around the other side when I get this truck unloaded. I'll drive around and show you what the other side of this looks like and how much water's in there. Yeah, if we get down in there and that much water comes out, there's no way we're gonna be able to haul. They're just gonna have to pump the water out, and then maybe we can do something with it. But as far as right now, we're able to get into it. It was a little sloppy, but now it looks like it's fairly solid after dumping a couple dry loads in there. We'll see what we can do today. So over here they've got their look, their tractor with their slurry tank. You can see that the pump is clear down in the water over there. So there's definitely a lot of water over there. They got their scraper tractor back there mixing it up. But they're trying to pump the water out. If they can pump the water out of this side, it won't run into the other side where we're scraping and scooping. And so, yeah, there's a lot of water in there. All right, I'm back here to get loaded again. So the reason there's so much water down in here, if I zoom in, maybe it'll focus. They're over there. The reason there's so much water in there is because right about here, there's a pipe that comes out of the ground that comes from up where the milk barn is up there. And that pipe is where all the wash water comes. So they wash out the milk barn, and all the water they use to flush and wash the milk barn out every day just comes out of a pipe right here into the manure and then filters through the manure into the lagoon. So that's where a lot of the water comes. So if the pipes that go underneath the road from where the manure is to where the lagoon is on the other side of this weeping wall, if the pipes are plugged, then that water just builds up underneath the manure and just kind of sits there. So the lagoon is empty. When we drive past the lagoon in a minute, after I get loaded, the lagoon is empty. It's all the way down. There's a whole bunch of manure on top of it because the weeping wall has been kind of busted. But the lagoon's pretty much empty with water. But over here, it's still full because there's probably 6-8 feet of water underneath all the manure over here that's just been sitting there because the pipes are plugged underneath the road. So they want us to get this as empty as possible so they can try and do something to fix this. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what the best solution would be. Actually, I have an idea, but they would never do it. It involves pouring a concrete channel with a bunch of screens and stuff, but yeah, I don't know what their plan is to fix this problem this year, but we're trying to get it empty enough that they can get in there and kind of work on it and get it fixed. So that is why normally when it gets this sloppy, we would just stop. We'd be like, nope, it's too sloppy. We'd stop, but we're trying to get it empty so they can work on their weeping wall a little bit. So that's the goal, that's the plan, that's what we're trying to do here. We're just hauling right now just across the road back on the field on the other side of the road from the dairy because it's close and we're hauling a little bit sloppier stuff. So trying not to, I mean, we're still making a mess, but we're trying not to spread that mess any further than possible and absolutely necessary. So it's a deep hole that he drives into. He almost disappears into the hole. And it gets deeper the further he goes. So the further he goes down in there, the deeper it gets. But we'll see what we can do today. My camera will focus. There we go. All right, my turn to get loaded. It looks like what we mixed up, we got most of the slop out of there, and there's no more runny stuff running out of there. So if that's the consistency that we have to work with, we can work with that. I keep wondering if all the water on the other side is gonna make its way this way and start rushing through, but we'll see. We'll see when he gets down there. It looks like it's going pretty good though. It's like he's able to get in and out pretty easy for the most part. The top few feet, 4 or 5 feet, is really solid. It's what's at the bottom that's usually the sloppiest stuff. So if he can kind of mix it while he goes, it'll be pretty good. So you can kind of see right here, if you look right there, there's like a ledge. So that is the edge of the wall. So that's where it starts to slope down. So as we've taken out from this side and they're pumping out from the other side, you can see that ledge over there on that side. So that's kind of where the channel runs. You can see there's a little crack right there. So it runs right through here all the way over to this side. So there's a ledge right there. So that's where the channel runs. It's just wide enough that you can drive a loader through there, and that's about it. And then where this dark spot is right here is where the gap is in the dirt wall that's on this side. You can see this side is already caved off, so that's where the edge of the dirt wall is right here. It's a little sloppy, but there's a lot of solid on top, so if we can just keep mixing that solid in as we go, we'll be good. Pumped the water the other day. That's why this is all wet right here. They pumped it up over. You can see it's not going down. That's why we think the pipes right here are plugged. You can see it's level with the road on this side, and then this is the lagoon on the other side that's down really low. So there's one of the pipes. So the lagoon's empty for the most part, but it looks like they're filling their tanker up over there. We'll drive past. But the lagoon is empty for the most part. There's some water in there, but it's down pretty low. So there they are filling up their tanker. I'm not sure how many gallons it is, but it's pretty big. Hopefully they can get all of it pumped out. Well, I was just coming back to the dairy, get loaded again, and they just dropped the drag line off. So it is a really long excavator. So this is what we use to clean out the middle of the lagoon and all the areas where we can't really get a loader in. So that's what the drag line is. I don't even know what kind of, I don't know what brand or anything of machine it is. I know it has Chinese letters on the boom, but I have no idea what brand it is. But that's the drag line. Big, super long reach excavator. Oh snap. Literally. That is supposed to be connected right there, like this side. That's not good. The arm busted off of the door on this truck. So it is out of commission because that requires a lot bigger repair than just a little band-aid patch. So this one's out of commission until winter. We'll pull it in and we'll rebuild the door. But he also said that there's a big chunk of concrete in the back. So let's see. Oh yeah, there's a piece of concrete right there. It's not a big chunk, but it is wedged up inside there, right next to the beater. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And this is a door we've rebuilt a couple times too. Just snapped right off. It also broke right there earlier. The frame is broken up underneath. Like these old GMC beds are so old, like, and worn. This crack is just because all the manure and everything, it's just rusted the bed so bad that it has worn the paper thin and it's cracked on both sides. And I think it's even, well, the underside of this one's okay. I think the other side, there's a crack right here underneath. Like these old beds, these old night beds, I don't even know how old these beds are, but they're shot, they're worn out. But we'll end up fixing it back up and we'll keep using it. They do work fairly good as a manure truck. They're actually pretty easy to work on as far as the beaters, because there's only 2 bearings on each side, and they're pretty easy to get to. So they're actually a lot easier to work on than our new ones, unless the shaft right there underneath, if the bearing goes out on that guy, you have to take the bed off and flip it over. So they are easy in some ways and hard in some ways. So, but yeah, this one's out of commission too. So we're now down 2 trucks. Actually 3. There's one at the repair shop still that we have not gotten back. But luckily, where we're hauling is so close that we don't need all the trucks anyway. So we're just gonna keep on going. They're waiting for me out of the dairy, so I'm gonna head out there. I just thought I'd drive past. So these are all areas that we've already cleaned out, and you can see that the manure is already over halfway up to the front. Granted, it's only maybe a foot deep, not very deep. So they're already filling it back up with nice sloppy fresh manure that they've been scraping out of all these corrals right here. And then this area, this is the biggest area that we have, and it's about the same. It's like about halfway up with fresh manure. So hopefully we get some good freezing temperatures this winter, and they can push this up and let it freeze and just keep doing that all winter, to where we will be able to haul it really well in the spring. And there is, I don't know if it'll focus. So I've talked about that hole in the wall. So there's the hole in the wall right there in the back corner. There's a hole right back there, and that's where the water is supposed to run out. The wall is kind of caving off, but actually I think the only thing holding that wall up is dirt and manure on the other side. But that is where the water is supposed to run out, because it's all kind of sloped to that corner, but it doesn't always work that way. It's like Trevor's still loading trucks over there. We'll drive up here and see how these areas are all holding up. It's like they're mixing in solid down here. This is where they were just pumping. They must have ran out of sloppy liquid to pump, so they're mixing in solid back over there. And I'm gonna go load. Okay, back out here at the dairy. Trevor's still loading out of this spot. He's gone down there quite a ways. You can see, kind of see this is the wall right here, but it's starting to go down. You can see it's sloughed off clear over here. So right there, that's where it drains out of the upper area. That's the hole in the wall. So that's where it drains out into here, so it can drain through and slowly filter out through the weeping wall and into the lagoon. So Trevor's really made a good dent here, which is good. It definitely looks like it's getting sloppier out there. My phone only wants to focus on the crap on the window, so. But we're getting there. We are getting it hauled out. I don't know how much we'll be able to do. It's definitely really sloppy on the other side, way over there. It's really sloppy over there. So hopefully we can get a bunch of this out. See how far Trevor goes in there. So now he drives way in there to get a scoop. And it's a lot sloppier. It's not near as solid as it was. So with that, we're not hauling it on the road anymore. So normally we were going over across the road from the dairy. Well, now this field right here, we can drive across this field to the other side. So there's a field, we just drive across the edge of a field over to here, and that's where we're taking the manure now, because that way we don't have to actually drive on the road with the sloppy manure. So we are not hauling where we have to drive on the road, because it just makes a really big mess when we do that. But luckily we do have fields that are connected to the dairy that we can haul on without having to go down the road. So, because none of these trucks really seal anymore. Even these new beds, these new BTR beds, like the one he's loading, the back door has a flap on each side and there's a flap on the bottom. But there's like a 2 or 3 inch gap on all the sides. So it's like if that little flap just has a little fold in it, it just leaks it out. So it's not leaking too bad right now. Some of the other trucks are even worse, but we'll get it hauled, even if we have to haul it out back behind the dairy, on the field behind the dairy. So, but we'll just keep on going. Well, before I could even get loaded, Josh called me and said that he just pulled in to the other side where they were just mixing all the solid in on the other end of the drain. So he just pulled in there. So I'm just headed back around to the other side so Josh can load me over there. So we'll be taking out of both ends of the drain at the same time to try and get it cleaned up as much as we can. So there's Josh. He's just getting some solid to go try and mix in, and we'll see what we've got to work with here. It looks like it's still pretty sloppy, but better than it was before, I guess. I'm gonna back down in there and we'll get loaded. All right, Josh is loading me up now. Let me show you where we're at. So there's a ramp there too on this end. So he's driving down the ramp on this end into the drain to get some solid out of there. So that's where we're hauling from. And it's nasty messy. But we're getting her done. Doing what we can. Lovely splatters. But I'll get loaded here and drive out across the field because this is a little sloppy. Yeah, there's definitely some slop running in, but there's still a lot of solid in there. There's just slop on the bottom. But it does look like if we can still haul the rest of the drain tomorrow, well, I just got thinking. Tomorrow is when we are going to be using the drag line. So, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be using the loaders to clean more of the drain out tomorrow and just wait a day on the drag line, the big excavator, or if we're going to just do the drag line tomorrow, start cleaning out in front of the weeping wall. Either way, we are gonna have a lot of this cleaned out. It'll probably take about 2 days with the excavator to clean out that spot. But today's Monday. If we do the excavator tomorrow, the next day, Wednesday or Thursday, we should be just about out of manure. Now, I don't know if we're gonna go back over to the other dairy that was giving us all their manure to take any more of that, because it was a little bit longer haul and we were making a mess on the roads and it was very rough. It was not smooth where the dirt or where the manure was at. So I'm not sure if we're gonna go back over there or not, but yeah, this will be my last load of the day. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video today. We should have at least the rest of this week probably hauling manure, and then comes all of the repairs that we've been stacking up for winter. So we definitely have a lot of stuff to keep us busy all winter long. So make sure you stick around for that, and I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.